this is our weekly time that we get to spend together, and I just look forward to it so much. And um, yeah, so just a little bit about why I do this. Um, this is something that gives me, yeah, Twee, you've had that too. Okay, good. At least I know I'm not alone. Instagram just feels like it's like you just cross your fingers and hope that everything works. And if it doesn't, you're like, well, all right, now what? Okay, so my intention in doing this morning ritual is that we would have an opportunity once a week to start our days together with intention. The thing about the subconscious mind is that usually if you just wake up and start your day, what the subconscious mind does is it just starts over wherever you left off the night before, right? So it's just this thread of just picking up where you left off and recreating more of the same. And so this is why I love teaching yoga in the morning, because the asana breaks up that pattern, and so does something like this. So, being with yourself in the morning consciously and really examining yourself or looking inward, being mindful, developing awareness, developing presence, calming your nervous system, calling all of your resources back to you, all of your internal resources in the morning, and sort of deciding who it is that you want to be today instead of simply reacting to what life hands you, then we stand such a better chance of creating a new path or really getting where we want to go instead of just finding ourselves in the same places over and over and over again. So, this is just my offering to you of different ways that you might do that for yourself, that you might take what you learn here on these Wednesday mornings and translate it out into your life. And if any of these practices that we do, any of the breath work or any of the mudras or any of the kriyas, if they speak to you, that you might put those in your back pocket and use them in your other morning rituals throughout the week, or in times of stress or processing or contemplation, or when you need them, that you might have these tools available to you when you need them the most. And I try to kind of infuse these with concepts that I'm either seeing in my own life or that I'm really seeing with my clients, so that they might be helpful to all of us. So that's the intention. So thank you so much for being here. Good morning, Greta. Good morning, Twee. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Jen. So many people, so many of my loves here today. It's so great to be with all of you. Thank you so much for taking the time. So, today we're talking about the light topic of over responsibility, right? So, before we do that, let's just come into our bodies for just a moment. So, I like to put one hand on my heart and one hand on my belly and just close my eyes. You can do the same if you feel safe. And just kind of take a moment to come inward. Let's take 3 breaths together, everyone. Take a big breath in through your nose. And an open mouth, exhale. Again, inhale fully, richly, deeply. Feel yourself really expand. Then open your mouth, surrender, just let it all go. Once more, breathe in all the way to the depths. Open mouth, exhale. As you're ready, blink your eyes to open. If you have a candle or some incense or anything that would make this process just feel really delicious and yummy and lovely to you this morning, I invite you to do that. And I invite you just to choose the thoughts that there's something here for you today, and that you would open yourself and just believe that something here is meant to help you today, and that you would just open your heart and open your mind to that. And one thing about that, I would offer you is that if I say anything that really just lands and you're like, oh my gosh, that's it, write it down and write it down, and then keep coming back to it again and again and again this week and see how it serves you. And then conversely, if I say something that like inflames you or triggers you or really like lights up your system in not a good way, before you discard that, before you take what works and leave the rest, because I like that, but I like it, there's like a part that's missing to that, take what works and leave the rest. Before you decide to leave something, I would request that you would examine why it is that you're choosing to leave it, and if in that choice to leave it, this actually might be your hidden gem, right? So I'm asking you to look at your filter and say the things that you automatically assume aren't for you, what if actually they were? Or what if parts of them were? And what if by discarding it and assuming that it's not for you, you're actually missing like a key to your own puzzle? Okay? So if you could just like kind of enter into that with that mindset, with that heart space. Okay. So taking over responsibility. So I'm bringing this because this is something that I feel is really affecting me in my life. And so one of the things that I think that I do well in my teachings, in my yoga students and with my clients, is that I offer up what's happening in my life, the thoughts that I'm having, the breakthroughs I'm having. Not that you would have the exact same ones by any means, but just in the attempt, the hope that something that I say would be relatable enough to something that you're experiencing that you might identify your own porthole into this work, right? That you might say, oh, it's not exactly what Casey described, but it's very similar. So I'm going to take what she said and I'm going to superimpose it on my life, but I'm going to kind of switch it around so it fits. All right. So when I share my life, it's not this like all about me thing. It's like I'm going to just open my heart and open the experience of my personal work so that you might find places where you might be able to explore this for yourself. So, you know, for me in my life lately, I've got three major quadrants. So if you have your journal, I would pull it out now. And if you'd like to take some notes or write some things down, I would ask, what are the major quadrants of your life? Like, where are you devoting most of your energy right now? And so mine are basically in like three major quadrants of my business, right? Which includes, you know, my clients, my marketing, my working at the yoga studio, all of that beautiful stuff. So my work, my business. And the second part is my relationship. I've never made it this far before. I've never lived with anybody before. I've never been with anyone this long before. I've never been in this level of a commitment before. And so that's my second quadrant. And then my third quadrant is my family of origin at home. Even though they're 1,000 miles away, they still mean very much to me and have a big impact on my life. And so those, if I had to identify, those are probably the three main quadrants that are affecting me the most in my life right now. And what I have been experiencing is that I feel like in all three of these places, in one way, shape, or form, I personally have been being pushed to my limits, right? I've been being pushed to my max. And usually I do pretty well if I'm getting pushed to my max in one or two quadrants of my life. But when I'm getting pushed to my max in all three, that's when things start to feel untenable for me. And I'm like, okay, starting to wave my white flag over here and saying, you know what, I'm reaching some sort of boiling point. I'm reaching some sort of breaking point. Like I'm juggling all of these balls, and I'm doing a really good job. That's the thing, is I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job. Like I'm getting all my duties done. I'm showing up. I'm doing what I need to do. But the thing is, inside, I'm starting to feel like something's gonna break, something's gonna give. And so I took it for coaching in my mastermind, and I'm thinking like the circumstance is the problem, which is like coaching 101. It's like very rarely the circumstance. It's like, you know, so what I've been examining is like this quote. Gosh, I wrote it down in my phone, but I didn't write it down in my, I think I can actually, it's an old football coach. What's his name? I'll write it. I'll put it in the notes. I can't remember it right in this moment, but there's this, I think football coach, Lou Stoltz, I think he said, it's not the weight of the load that makes it unbearable, but rather the way that you carry it, right? It's not the weight of the thing that makes it heavy, but rather the way that you carry it. And so that's what I've been examining in my own life. And maybe that could be something that you write down in your journal. That it's not the weight of the load that makes it heavy, but rather the way that you're carrying it. So I've started to examine, well, how am I carrying these things? Maybe they're actually not so heavy. It's just the way I'm looking at them, the way I'm interacting with them, the way I'm carrying the load. Maybe it's actually that part that's making things feel so untenable for me. And then it's like ding, 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 ding. I'm taking too much responsibility for everything, right? And it's not even those three quadrants. For me, it's like the weight of the world. It's like you look at what's happening in Ukraine and Iran, and you look at what's happening with Pakistan and Israel, and it's just like, and then you look at what's happening in the United States, and it's like, I can't, there's something inside of me that wants to fix it, and I just can't fix it all. Right. And so I think that's what I've been living with, is this like burden of like seeing so much. Like I see so many things. I can see a lot of what's happening, and like wanting to be able to, I don't know, quote unquote, fix it, or be part of the solution, be part of the healing, be part of the solution and not the problem. And so for me, inside of myself, that desire, that beautiful, benevolent desire, has become harmful to me, because there's something inside of me that that thinks that I can do it all, or that somehow it's all up to me, or somehow I can fix it. And that's the part that's starting to really burden me and make the load hard to carry. So that's what I'm here to offer you today. So, this is a conversation about creating space and margin and bandwidth, right? This is a conversation about, internally, what does it feel like to be you? And I was talking to one of my beloved clients about this yesterday, about, when you live your life to the max all the time, that load in and of itself becomes heavy. But then if anything unexpected happens in your life, you got nothing. There's literally no wiggle room, there's no excess, there's no resources to draw from when the unexpected happens. And what do we know about life? We can expect the unexpected, right? So the when we take over responsibility, what it means is that we probably don't have a lot of space for like life to occur. And also, we probably don't have a lot of space to enjoy like the miracles and the majesty and like the surprises that life wants to offer us, because we're so busy like holding this weight. So, the next thing in my notes is white knuckling, right? So that's kind of what this feels like for me inside, is like a death grip. It's like I'm just holding on to everything so tightly. Um, and it's like kind of white knuckling and holding it all in this underlying belief that if I don't do it, no one else will. Or if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. Or if I don't take care of it, it's not going to be okay. Or since I see it, I have to fix it. Do any of these resonate with you? Does any of this resonate with you? I'd love to know how this impacts you, or how this shows up in your life. Does this ring any bells? Please feel free to drop that in the chat if you like. Um, so a few things that I want to touch on, and then we're just going to kind of process this, and then I've got some journal prompts for you at the end. Um, Here's something that I wanted to share with you. If this all feels pretty vulnerable today, but that's okay. I'm okay with being vulnerable. Um, the, Something that I think I learned as a child. So this is a lot of how this work as an adult works, is that, you know, okay, so between the ages of 0 to 7 is when the subconscious mind is wide open, right? And so between the ages of 0 and 7, our minds are like just open black holes that receive, just take in all the information. And our subconscious mind in those very formative years then makes a lot of rules, makes a lot of decisions about the world, getting emotional, based on the information that we receive. I don't know why that's interesting. Yeah, it's important. And so our subconscious mind during these formative years makes a lot of rules about how the world works and how each individual stays safe in the world. So depending on how you were raised, what your family was like, the messaging that you received as a small child, then as an adult, you're probably operating by those rules that your subconscious brain formed in your adolescence. And so what the work is today is going back and kind of understanding, like, what did I learn? How was I raised? What were the rules that were formed at that time? And then as an adult, how are those rules impacting me? And if they're impacting me for my good and for the positive and it's working, then great. Those were helpful rules that I'd like to keep going. But if they aren't, if they feel harmful or heavy or burdensome, or they feel like they're leading you on this path that you don't want to be on, then the work is to say, okay, I learned this rule as a small child, but now as an adult, it's time for me to upgrade that. And that's where coaching comes in, is where we get to upgrade those rules, those systems that you build your life around. So for me, I think for various reasons, for whatever reasons, I kind of developed this response inside of myself where it feels very difficult for me to be okay when things aren't okay. Does that resonate with you? I can't imagine that I'm the only one. But I even remember like having this like aha moment like in my 20s of being like, "Oh my gosh, when I'm in conflict with someone, I feel like I just have to fix it immediately because I hate the feeling of sitting with knowing I'm not okay with someone or knowing that my relationship with someone is okay." And I was thinking about this yesterday and I was like, ding, 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 ding. That's a huge part of why I drank, is because I personally didn't have the ability to sit with myself when things weren't okay, when I was in conflict with someone, when things weren't going well, when things aren't right in the world. It's very hard for me to feel okay on the inside when things aren't or don't feel okay on the outside. Okay, so that's one of the rules that I made, or one of the behaviors that I've adopted based on the rules that I made to help me take over responsibility. That in order to appease that feeling, then I then take too much responsibility to try to fix everything so that I don't have to sit with the feeling of things not being fixed. Whew. I feel like this is like a self-coaching session for me, right? But I hope that this resonates with you too. So just notice like what are the rules that you've made inside, and what are your responses to those rules that teach you to say, if I just fix this, then I'll feel better, right? And so then actually that loop gets even more twisted, because then it's like, wow, the only way I can be okay inside is to take over responsibility. Do you see that? The only way then I can maintain homeostasis for myself is then if I take control of all my circumstances so that everything is okay around me, so that I can feel okay inside. And then the cycle, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So then I develop this behavior of thinking that my relationship is all up to me, right? And of course it's not, but somewhere inside it's like, I've got to do this, I've got to make this work, right? I've got to do it. Or my business, like it's got to happen, I've got to make it work, I've got to do this, I've got to show up, I've got, all these things. It's like, then that's my work to unravel all of that. Okay, so that's one little thing. I'm not okay with things being okay. It's not the load, but the way that you carry it. Um, Two more things. Uh, One of them is like, I just want to share how profound I believe it is to be in a relationship. And that truly, truly, so much of this that I'm seeing about myself and about life wouldn't be possible if I wasn't in my relationship with Nate. And I just want to share with you that for so many years, when I was drinking, and especially um, when I stopped drinking, and I got a couple of years or whatever, and I just kept saying, like, I want different problems. Like, I want an upgrade of problems. I'm sick of just focusing on myself. I feel like I've done a lot of what I can do by myself, and I want to learn and grow and do this work in relationship with someone else. And I just want to share that, like, there's really nothing like a relationship to mirror yourself back to you, and to show yourself back to you, and to bubble up to the surface the things that still need healing or examining for you to walk through in your life. So if you're in a relationship, I just want to remind you of that like your relationship can be one of your biggest sources of expansion and healing and growth. And if you're not in a relationship, I just want to let you know that that's a pocket of potentiality that is waiting for you. And it's something that's challenging, but it's really so, so beautiful. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for this. It just feels like everything is deeper now. And that's so rich and amazing to me. And then the other thing is that I wanted to share that last week I celebrated 4 years of being alcohol free. And I just want to show you, like, look what's available to me still 4 years later. Like, look at these aha moments I'm having for myself 4 years into sobriety, where I'm like, I think I take over responsibility. I think I have a hard time being okay when things aren't okay. And they sound really like those don't seem like super high level breakthroughs, but they are to me. And I guess I just want to say, like, whatever it is you're facing, whether it's alcohol or anything else, like whatever it is that you struggle with, like just know that when you start to unwind that for yourself, that it's just like this vault of beauty. It's like this vault of discovery inside of yourself that just keeps going, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. It's like the longer I go with alcohol, the more parts of myself I get to see. The longer I go without alcohol, the more that is revealed to me, the more healing that is available to me, the more awareness that is available to me. And it's not easy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So good. Okay, my friends. So, for your journaling practice, here are some questions that I want to ask you that you can determine whether or not you take too much responsibility for yourself. And it looks like I'll talk a little bit more because I didn't hit all the things, I think, for you to hit this exploration on your own. So I think one lens that you can look at this through is, what are you available for and what are you not available for? Okay, this is to help you set your boundaries around taking too much responsibility. So what am I available for and what am I not available for? All right. And this might help you just distinguish, like on paper, like yes, like what's my yes and what's my no. And I do have another couple concepts that I don't think I got to. So one thing I wanted to offer, and this is something that you can journal about too, is that I've been having this conversation with another client of mine, is that this desire to take over responsibility, this desire to fix things, this desire to make things right, this desire to see things and then act on them, it comes from this really beautiful place. And I would say that for me personally, like my ability to empathize and my ability to relate with people and to connect with them is probably my biggest strength. All right, but can you see in this moment that with this behavior, that my biggest strength of empathy and relatability and connection has actually become kind of part of my downfall, so to speak. Maybe that's a little dramatic, right? It's like I tell my client that empathy is like the porthole where people kind of try to take advantage of her, right? So like, what is your greatest strength and where does it become your downfall? Okay. So like it's like a good quality, it's a helpful quality up into a point, and then once it goes past that point, it's like, ooh, that's too much, right? Empathy, 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 responsibility, responsibility, responsibility. You see what I'm saying? It's like they're like empathy, my empathy is helpful to a degree, and then past that point, it becomes harmful to me. So this might be a good time for you to ask yourself, like, what are my biggest strengths? What are my greatest qualities? And when I take them too far, like how do they actually become a detriment to me? Okay, so that's one thing for you to examine for yourself. Okay, and then I asked, what are you available for and what are you not available for? And then I think like the follow-up to that would be, what are 3 ways that you can practice those boundaries in your life right now? Like being available for the things that you want to be available for, but not being available for the others. And what are 3 ways that you could try that on in your life right now? Saying no to something, saying yes but no. So boundaries are funny. I talk to my clients about boundaries as being a fence and not a wall. And so what we want to do is we want to just throw up a wall and just be like, I'm out, right? But that doesn't work for people that you still love and that you want them to be in your life. And like this is the thing, is like no one and nothing is all good or all bad, right? So we need to learn the art, the skill of letting in what we want and not letting in what we don't want, right? So it's this like kind of contrast that we have to learn how to do. We have to be aware, we have to be present, we have to be discerning. So how can you practice building your fence and not a wall, right? So the wall is a lot cleaner, but nothing good's ever getting in there. The fence is not as clean, but you can let some things in and not other things. So again, it's a skill to be learned. How can you practice it right now? Okay, and so then the final concept that I'd like to leave you is this yoga theme that I used to teach when I was in Denver, and it's the concept of commitment versus attachment. And I feel like this could be like the crux of what I can leave you with. in this conversation is if you are a person who takes too much responsibility, that you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, that you feel like it's all up to you, how can you view your life through the lens of commitment versus attachment? And how might that change things for you? So, what that means to me is that commitment is like this open hearted, open minded devotion towards what you want, right? But it's not a white knuckling uh, attachment to this is what I want, this is what's happening, this is how it's going to be, I have to make it happen. Okay, do you see the difference between controlling and trying to get life to do what you want it to do versus shining, sort of like a Care Bear stare, just versus shining your devotion? I love that. Shining your devotion, your commitment towards what you want, and just believing that whatever happens will be what's best for you, what's meant to happen. So my question would be, what is the difference between commitment and attachment for you? Or you could ask yourself, for me, what's the difference between commitment and attachment for me? How can I let go of my death grip and open my heart towards what I want? Cool? Okay. So now we're going to take three practices. And I think we're going to do them each for like 2 minutes each. We're going to take a breath practice, and then a breath kriya to move some energy, and then a mantra kriya for devotion and internal creation. Okay, so I think this will be really, really fun. So stick with me for about 10 more minutes, and I'll send you on your way. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm just so thrilled to have you all with me this morning. So thank you. I hope that this is helpful for you. Okay, so let's come into our breath practice first and foremost. This breath practice involves 2 mudras. This is called prana apana, and this is one of my favorites. So the 2 mudras that we use, the first is prana, okay? So prana, making sure both cameras can see it. So you just bring your pinkies and ring fingers together, and your 2 other fingers are extended. And this will sit, you'll turn your palms upward, and this will just sit in your lap. And I'll lift my hands higher so that you can see it in the camera so you don't get confused. But please know that you don't need to hold your hands at shoulder height. You can just rest your hands right in your lap. Okay, so this is a prana mudra. This is an uplifting vayu mudra. So it uplifts through the breath pathways. But what this prana mudra is meant to do is it's meant to infuse life into you. It's meant to call upon all the parts of you that you want to be vibrant and alive, like all the parts of you that you want to be in the front seat. We're gonna inhale with this prana mudra and turn the palms upward, and the intention as you breathe that in is that like all the beauty, all of the good stuff inside of you would just rise out to the surface and grow bright and shiny and come out to play. Okay, so that's the inhale breath. So palms up, prana mudra on the inhale. And then as we exhale, we flip the palms and come into apana mudra. And this is what this one looks like. All right, so 2 center fingers touch to the thumb, and then pinky and pointer extended. And then this will face downwards in your lap, and it will just, again, sit on your thighs. And this apana mudra, this is the one that we really are focusing on. Like, well, we're focusing on both, but really, really, this is the letting go. This is the release. And in fact, if you're menstruating or if you might be pregnant, this is probably a mudra to stay away from, because it literally signals to the body to release. And if you're pregnant, we don't want to release yet. So you can just hold apana mudra the whole time if that's the case for you. Excuse me, but the intention with the apana mudra is that it's a draining and releasing, and that you might take this over responsibility and just let it go. And take this burden or whatever it is that you're carrying, or whatever these beliefs about how you have to do it and it's all up to you, and if you don't do it, it's not going to get done. I know that must resonate if you're a mom or a parent. Just let that go, okay? And this is just an opportunity for you to take that feeling in your body and release it. So please know that when we do these mudras and these kriyas, it's not for you to figure it out in your mind. That's why we've done this part. That's why I gave you the journaling prompt, so you can trust that your mind, when we hang up right now and when you go about your day and your week, that your mind has what it needs to complete this work for you, to connect the dots, to figure it out. So now is not this time. Now is the time to believe in magic and miracles, and to believe that this ancient practice can move energy through you and heal you in a way that is not available to your mind. Okay? So you can just hold the intention softly in the background of your mind and then just let the yoga do its job. We'll be here for about 2 minutes. So go ahead and roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Again, up, back, and down. Yes, once more, up, back, and down. Sit up tall. Tuck your chin in towards your chest. We begin. Inhale, prana. Exhale, apana. You can just breathe in and out through your nose. Remember, my palms are up so you can see what I'm doing. But your palms can just rest in your lap. We turn up for this prana mudra to uplift, to call all the good stuff to the forefront. We exhale, turn our palms downward to signal the release, the letting go, the draining out of all these heavy burdens. These mudras, they're seals, energetic seals. Isn't that such a beautiful thing that just by the way that you place and position your hands, that you can invite deep healing and restoration into your system. Let's take 3 more breath cycles, please. As you complete your 3, just simply turn your palms up in what we call receptivity pose. And so this can be either at sort of shoulder height or even in your lap. So just open your palms, open your heart, open your mind to anything that the yoga might want you to receive right now. And as you're ready, blink your eyes open. Amazing work. Okay, so maybe note anything about that practice. Also know that prana mudra is a mudra of infusion, of life, and prana, blessing. Prana is our life force. So if you hold this mudra over your food before you eat it, you can infuse it with all sorts of beautiful life force and energy for yourself. So this is a great mudra to use for that purpose as well. Okay, we're moving on to Prana Shakti 1. Okay, I think I'm kind of on the fence. Yeah, Prana Shakti 1. So this is a breath kriya. And what this does is it helps us to intensify our life force. It increases energy. It balances upward and downward energy, much like prana apana that we were just doing. It stabilizes restless energy. It creates focused attention. So really this is all about like moving that energy and increasing your life force. So any burdens, anything that you're carrying that's too much, like this is time to move it out of your system, that you might be harmonized, right? That you might have a balance of what I'm available for versus what I'm not available for. That you might have a balance of this is what's up to me, this is what I'm responsible for, and this is what I'm not responsible for, okay? So this is why I chose this kriya, that it might give you an energetic way to process those things, to sort of shake off the things that you no longer are available for. So hopefully you're going to be able to see me. Sorry, I know this isn't a perfect situation. So for Prana Shakti 1, we're going to extend our arms overhead. It's about 60 degrees, so just outside your shoulders, and our fingers are outstretched. So you're really up, outstretched, Really, can you see that? See that? Up, 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 up. So we inhale here, exhale. So tuck and curl, and then hands to fists, okay? So it's an inhale and an exhale. It's a reach and a pull, and we're reaching up just as much as we're pulling down. It's a sharp and it's sort of like a cat-cow, an extension and flexion of the spine, but it's not head banging, so we don't want you to hurt your neck, okay? So we're just gonna do this. And we're gonna do this for about 2 minutes as well. And I invite you to make some noise and just move some energy through your body. Prana Shakti 1, harmonize upward and downward, bring into balance what you're responsible for and what you aren't responsible for. Ready? Begin. Reach, pull, reach, pull. You got it. Keep going. Up, down, pull, reach, pull. Three more. And receptivity pose. Just be with it. Just be available. Just open yourself to receive. As you're ready, gently blink your eyes open. Amazing work. Shake out your arms. Maybe stretch through the shoulders. That'll wake you up, right? So good. All right, how was that for you? What came up? Anything? Nothing? A lot of times it doesn't come up in the moment, and that's okay. We'll just be available for later, right? Amazing work. Thank you for being willing to do different things. Okay, so our third and final Kriya. It's a mantra Kriya. So we're going to sing, chant, and so Instagram will probably pull this video down for it, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So the chant is Om Namo Narayanaya. Okay, and we've got this whole kind of arm variation. This chant symbolizes the sustaining power of existence, the sustaining power of the universe. And I chose this because I think that like when we take over responsibility, there's this underlying belief that like there's not that we don't trust something greater to take care of us, or we don't trust something greater to have our backs. And even like beyond that, it's like maybe even we don't trust the nature and the cyclical nature of life. And so this mantra is so beautiful because we start here at hands at heart center, and the chant goes Om Namo Narayanaya, and each phase represents the being born, the sustaining of life, and then the death. So the three distinct movements of form coming to form: birth, sustenance, and death. Everything that comes into existence must be sustained and then eventually leave existence. So I chose this because it kind of builds in this trust that like everything has its time. And not everything is meant to live forever, and not everything is meant to be sustained for perpetuity. Like it's okay to let life follow its natural cycles. And what that means is like it's okay to let things fall apart. That's what it means to me right now. It's okay to let things fall apart, and it's okay to let things go, and it's okay to let things change. And that maybe that this mantra kriya would symbolize and evoke something deeper inside of us, that we would just say, you know, all I'm responsible for is riding that wave of birth, sustain, and death. Like that's really all I'm responsible for. But when I think about this, like in my life, I think it's like I'm always in charge of the sustaining. Like I gotta keep it alive, I gotta keep it going, I gotta keep it going. But really it's birth, sustain, and death. Birth, sustain, and death. And it's for us to just be responsible for riding the waves of those cycles instead of trying to get things to stay alive as long as we can. Does that hit? So we start at hands, heart center, Om Namo, and the hands come right up above your head. And then once they pass your head, you outstretch them, open wide, and then bring back to heart center. Okay? And if you're in a place where you feel safe to chant and you can really open your throat and open your voice, I would encourage you to do so. And please know that whatever your spiritual beliefs are, whatever your religious practice is, that yoga is never meant to take away from that or to get in the way of that. That this is just like sort of prayers in a different language, and please know that none of the Sanskrit is ever harmful. It's all based on bija sounds, the primordial sounds of the universe, and then they're meant to just evoke a vibration, a healing, restorative vibration inside of you, right? So it's not that we're like praying to another god or doing anything like that. It's like all about a vibration and energy and calling that in, creating it for yourself in your world. Okay, so hands to heart center. What else do I want to tell you about this? This kriya, it acts as an antidepressant. It uplifts energy. It's healing. It helps us tune into the abundance of nature. Here's a big reason I chose it. It eliminates codependencies and connects one to the sustaining power of the universe, its abundance, and the realization that life always finds a way. Isn't that so beautiful? And I just want to give a little shout out to Molly Busby. She's my Kriya teacher, Himalayan Kriya Yoga. I would really recommend that you give her a follow. On Instagram, she's Molly of the North. And she and her husband, she's an amazing woman. I've learned so much from her, all of this Kriya work. But they live in the Arctic Circle, and they do tons of yoga retreats, and they have sled dogs, and it's just so incredible, the life that they're living. So I want to give Molly a lot of credit for passing her knowledge on to me so that I can pass it on to you right now. So I've set my alarm multiple times. Let's begin. We'll start with a big breath in and a big breath out. Take a breath to prepare. Let's begin. Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Om Narayanaya. 3 more. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Receptivity pose. Just be. And bring your hands together in front of your sweet, strong heart. Thank you so much for being willing to show up on a Wednesday morning, to stay for longer than a half hour, to ask yourself these questions, to go inward, to develop this awareness, and to move your body and your heart and your mind and your spirit in all these new ways that you might evoke new energy, create a new path forward. Thank you for being here. I hope that this blesses your day and your life. Bring your thumbs up to your forehead if you wish. And we bow together in gesture of gratitude. Namaste. All right, my friends, that's what I have for you today. I hope that this conversation about over-responsibility and releasing that burden, I hope that it was impactful and powerful to you today. If you have any takeaways that you'd like to drop in the chat, I'd love to hear that now. So here's the deal. This is, there's many ways to continue having this conversation. So with me, so offering this for free is very important to me to make all of this work accessible. So please know that every Wednesday I show up here and offer something. I might kind of do this 3 Wednesdays a month and take the 4th off is kind of what I'm thinking, but stay tuned for that. So please know that you can join me here, and I have hundreds of videos on my Instagram because I've been doing this morning ritual for years. I just took a little bit of a break the last few months when I was in my coach training program. So please know that there's tons of resources here, and they're all perfectly free and available to you. And so please take advantage of those and bookmark the ones that serve you and come back to them whenever needed. So there's that. And then also just please mark, you can just put it as a repeating event in your calendar, is the third Wednesday rather of every month. I offer a free online yoga class, which is it's a 90-minute class. It's a yoga flow partnered with some of this coaching work, some of the deep work. So, this last time it was EFT and coaching. Before that, it was perfectionism and from fear to freedom and channeling the warriors. So lots of, again, like hopefully proactive, like boots on the ground tools that you can use when you face these themes in your life. And then 2 ways to work with me in coaching is that I'm offering a 3-pack of EFT, hypnosis, and neural and energetic encoding. And so if you have something that you're trying to solve in your life and you really want to take a systematic approach to it, and you've tried a lot of things but not these modalities, I can help you. So you can work with me in a 3-session pack, or I see my coaching clients in a 6-month coaching package. So that's 6 months, 24 sessions, so 24 weeks. So those are all the ways that you can work with me. Please reach out to me. This is important work. This work of like releasing responsibility and realizing things about like, man, I don't do so good when things aren't so good. Like those are helpful things that bubble to the surface in coaching, and it's awareness that can change your entire life. So I love this work. Thank you for joining me in it. I hope that this was powerful to you. I hope that it serves you. Reach out for more. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Thanks, everyone. Namaste.